All right, I'd like to call the November 26th Road Committee meeting to order, and let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing I have on the agenda is the grant application, and it's basically just to let everyone know that the grant has been applied for. Thank you, Will, for making sure that got done.
Cross our fingers.
Really anxious and excited to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, I am too, so hopefully it works out.
The engineer was very good.
Oh, he was, yeah.
So, Jennifer did send me a copy of the grant. I don't know if you have it or not.
Yeah, I have it on email.
I'll forward it to everyone else so you all can look at it, and see, just exactly what the scope was. Robin, I'll try to get it printed for you.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty lengthy, so I'll send it, I'll ask Jennifer to print it and get you a copy, because I think you'd be interested in seeing that also.
Okay.
And the agenda's really short tonight. We're basically here to look at 3 applications for Article 43. The first one we had was for the Ridge, and we had a problem with it because they don't qualify. They are, I'll just go through the application and let you know where the issues are. They are a road association, so that's not a problem. They are in the a watershed of a great pond, which is Bulge Pond, which is a great pond. But we run into a problem in section 3 of the application where they have to answer yes to one of the following 3 questions. One is the Great Pond listed on the main DEP Lake NPS priority watersheds list? They are not listed on that. The second one would be, is the Great Pond listed on the main integrated water quality monitoring and assessment report? They're not listed on that one either. And the third one of these 3 would have to be, is the Great Pond identified as at risk or under threat by a completed watershed survey approved by the Maine Department of Environmental Protection? There has been no watershed study done. And I actually went to AWA to check on that and said to ask Linda Shire, please tell me I'm missing something, because I don't know that, my last understanding was they had not done a watershed survey. And she said they have not. She told me that they'd be happy to help them, but they have to contact them in order to get that ball rolling. So unfortunately, they don't qualify for these funds because they don't meet one of those 3 criteria. Just as due process, I'm gonna open that up for a vote as to whether everyone thinks we should or should not reimburse this.
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to not reimburse.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Actually, can we put that in the affirmative to make it easier, so we know,
So
actually?
it does not qualify.
Well, no, do we, I think what I'm saying is an affirmative motion.
And then we turn it down. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'll make a motion to accept the Ridge application.
Second.
all right, so if you vote yes, you're voting to approve the funds. If you vote no, you're approving, you are saying, no, we should not be paying this. So, how many, I have a vote for how many people think we should pay? And how many should not? Okay, so we have what? 5 and 1 abstention?
Well, when I abstain, yeah, I'd have to abstain.
Yeah, this is the ridge, so this is the one that you did the work on?
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that was 0, 5, 1.
Leslie,
Yes,
isn't this up there on the Balls Pond, isn't that the Saco River
it's in the,
corridor? They got that, their thumbs on that whole area up there
they
anyway.
do.
So anything that anybody wants to do up there, basically, you gotta go through them anyway. 'Cause they control that whole thing from Balls all the way down through. And I don't know exactly, we used to have a representative on that commission. I don't know if we still do or not, but, I never heard of a heck of a lot going on up there without people going through them anyway.
I don't, that wouldn't affect us. I don't think that would affect us, but you're right about that, but it wouldn't affect us, them applying for Article 43 money to do that type of work on their roads.
I'm just saying, like with the watershed survey, you know, and all that,
Yeah.
maybe they do that independently and they don't even deal with the state on that stuff. I don't know, they're pretty independent bunch.
Yeah. Well, I know that when Great East was done, I mean, I live on Great East, so, AWA was involved, New Hampshire DEP, and Maine DEP were all involved in that watershed study, because the lake is in the two states. So, and AWA was the coordinator of it. So, they, said that they would be happy to help with that for Balch, but they've got to contact them in order to get that going. So, I mean, and Saco River would, how they would enter into it, I'm not sure. But that shouldn't affect whether we pay these out or not. The second one was on Wilkins. And Cindy, Robin, and I went to look at the, road on Saturday. In answering their question, well, we'll go through answering their questions. They are a road association. They are, in the, watershed of a great pond, which is Great East. And in answering the 3 questions, the, Great East is listed on the Maine DEP Lake and NPS Priority Watershed List, and there is a watershed study done. So they hit 2 of the questions that were asked. Wilkins Road is looking for, I think it was $1,100. And maybe Cindy and Robin, you wanna, talk about, a little bit about what we saw when we went there?
I thought the road looked pretty good going, and it had a nice crown on it. And as we got down to the bottom of the hill, you could see where they had tried to, there was a dip that I think was preventing probably for some form of erosion control. I know when Robin dug into it, we couldn't find a culvert.
It looked like a catch
Just a
basin.
catch basin.
Yeah, but it's basically a catch basin. I couldn't see any signs of runoff on the other side going over the lawn or into the driveway or down below it, so it looked to me like they had it under control and it looked good.
They just need to clean the catch basin out
And
in the
that's,
spring.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that,
Then discussed about going across that driveway, some type of divert the water from going down that whole driveway, get it out into the woods, so
Right.
before it gets to the pond.
so we would encourage them to contact AWA and see
Right.
if it was something that AWA would, want to look into and
Right.
give them some recommendations.
Yep.
But the road was actually crowned very well. I mean, you could definitely see where it was diverted to the side of the roads. Anything else?
I make a motion that we accept Wilkins Road application.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay. All right, and the last one is 13th Street. We have all their documentation as for the road association. The watershed of the Great Pond is Mousom Lake. They are on the Maine DEP Lake Priority Watersheds list. They are not on the Integrated Water Quality list, and they have had a watershed survey completed. They were looking for $500, and the scope of the work was sweeping the road. My thoughts on that were, when you sweep the road, all you're doing is moving the dirt around. And so you're not removing it from getting to the lake. And I thought that if they had removed it, sucked it up, whatever, that it would then qualify. What is everyone else's thoughts?
Do we actually know that they didn't move it? I know there's some roads that I sweep and I remove it too. But do we know for sure that they just swept it off the middle of the road and put it on the side of the roads? Or do we know?
The invoice says swept 13th Street in 2018, swept 13th Street in 6/3/19. So it doesn't say they removed it, all it says is that it's swept.
Right.
So,
And it was $250. Could they have removed material for that?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
all right, so, if they had removed it, that, I think that's entirely different than just moving it around.
Right. Yep.
Because if you just move it, it can eventually get into the lake.
Yeah, unless it was to, fix the crown or something.
It's paved, the whole road's
Yeah.
paved.
It's
all
paved.
paved.
So it's paved, so,
Yeah.
right.
They needed a sucker truck.
So,
So make a motion to accept 13th Street application?
you have a second?
I'll
Second.
that.
All in favor of paying 13th Street? All opposed? Okay. And that's all I have on the agenda. Does anyone have anything that they wanted to bring up? Any old business, new business? Any public comment?
I have a question. So where are the selectmen now with the process going forward?
My understanding is they have discontinued accepting applications. And I've heard a couple different things. I've heard that they're working on a new application, and then I heard that they would like to send it to the state for some clarification. So I'm not actually quite sure where we are with that. I did ask that the road committee be included in those discussions because we do have quite a bit of expertise in this. The process we've been using, I think, has worked well. So one of my questions for the auditor is what exactly, I forget how I phrased it, what exactly were her concerns?
So when they say that they're not taking any new applications, that's from a certain date forward, right? So
Yeah,
if there's
they-
anything,
Well, applications had been submitted that were returned.
Yeah, I think they got some after these ones. I think there was like a couple after we got these ones, but they wanna, like the form we use now, they wanna they wanna make a new one.
More like a grant.
Modify it, and then kinda like a grant type, and then, like they said, they wanna send it to the state and get their input on it. So, when we do this, hopefully it's done right, then, we can be kinda like a follower for other people and give them, just so everything's, A, B, and C, really.
but even for work that's been done previously, like if it was done 6 months ago?
I don't know if they'll make them resubmit it on the new application or not, I have no idea.
That's my understanding
Right,
now,
that's-
because my association was one of the ones that was returned, where we had some work done. The Board of Selectmen knew that we were doing it, and Lakeside also had an application returned.
Oh, that's right.
And for the same scope of work. They knew that these applications were coming in, they took them and then sent them back. So,
I guess the concern of mine would be that if they substantially change the process and it nullifies any of those because of a new process, I mean, they did the work based on what they thought the process was.
right. And that is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem. And that, to my knowledge, has not been addressed.
Okay.
I think, like they said last week, I think they're gonna try, don't mark my word, I think they're gonna try to get the applications in case, they did like ditching or something like that. It might be after the winter time or, whatever they did, it might look different, than what it does now. But right there, they didn't tell us an answer of what they're gonna do with the ones we've had. I think they're gonna look at them once we get the form, but, like you said, it could change, so, it's up to them now.
I know for the two road associations that, that went back, the work that was done was cleaning out culverts and catch basins. And to go in and after the fact now and try to even inspect that work.
Right, I think we need a time limit from when it's the work, put the application in, we need a time limit in there, so we know exactly what's going on with that road.
Right, I received a phone call the other day from the other road association, and they were pretty upset because they had gone to a selectman meeting and let them know that they were doing this work. And everything was, the indication was that was okay. And then they also talked about it at our last road committee meeting. So they're not very happy right now.
Well, I think getting a new application, I think there is gonna be a deadline, say, like,
Right.
like you can start your work May 1st, but it's gotta be done by like November 1st. I think they're gonna have like a time space in there, so everything's caught, like all the bills are all caught up before, we go into, so we don't have, work out, all the way out until like March of applications still coming in, so.
And that's reasonable, Will, but I think and I think this is what Jay was getting at, is that, we have associations who had things in process. So they finished their work after the selectmen decided that it needed to be changed. But nothing is in place.
Oh, yeah, that's right, but I don't know what, I don't know if they're gonna tell us something.
I think we're just gonna have to just, sorry to these roads that's already in here, sorry, and go from start fresh. Because I think we were doing things not totally legal.
You see, but we don't,
And we don't know.
but we don't know that.
And I think these road association needs to get these in before all the leaves, because we had a hard time seeing the work. I kinda saw the work, but when the leaves get down, like the ditching and all this stuff, we really can't tell what's been done and how it's been done with all the, so it's gotta be a spring to early fall where you get these applications in, so we can go out and look and inspect these roads that's been doing.
Now,
That's
I
my
know that
opinion.
when we were getting bids for having them come in to clean out the culverts and the catch basins, we started started talking to the company we ended up using in July. They ended up not coming out and actually performing the work until the end of September.
Right, well, these are the things.
And what I had told them is, get us the bill, because we want to get this application in right away. So it wasn't any more than, it was less than a week between the time I paid that bill for the association until we submitted the application.
Right, so these roads need to plan ahead, not wait till July. They should be on the goal in April. They should know what they're doing, get it estimated, get it to us, we go out and inspect it, and yeah, before, that's what I'm saying, you know, April, these roads know what they're gonna need down the line before, oh my God, July, this is what we're gonna do. And again, companies can't be, oh, I can't come out right that minute. It's gonna take 2 or 3 weeks for the company to come out, look, give you an estimate and whatever. So these road associations need to get their ducks in line sometime in April, May, in that general area.
Well, I think that's what they talked about too, because they kind of like went off like the road commission, now we have to have like a, you know, a scope of work.
Right.
I think when you, like, if they do go with like the grant application type, you have to like submit like, you know, hey, this is our scope of work, this is what we're looking to do, you know, A, B, and C. I think that's what they're looking for.
Right.
You know,
And that's no problem. And going forward, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because I know we've had 5 and 6 year plans for our road to do certain things. So we know a lot of
Right.
times 4 and 5 years out what
Right,
we're planning
and
on
that's-
doing. But when you change the process and you don't give any notice that the process is changing, and you've got work that's being done and scheduled to be done, you know, and saying to them, well, sorry, too bad, you lose,
You know,
is really not a,
I think the town, and I think myself being a taxpayer, want to make sure we don't get in trouble down the line. Stop it now, yeah, sorry, people, road committee, you know, road people, sorry, but we're gonna do this the right way, so the town, or all of us that live in town, don't catch a lawsuit or whatever the case may be. If the state says we can't put road on, you know, tax money on private roads, that's, you know, we gotta make sure we go the fine line and
But they-
keep that fine line.
they said we can as long as it protects the lake.
Right, and in my feelings on protecting the lake, we need like, take for instance, the ridge. There's no way that the runoff from the ridge can get into Balch Lake. We gotta have a certain footage from the lake, like, say, Lakeside. Yes, that whole road is that's protecting the lake. No questions about it. The ridge, 13th Street from the fairgrounds to up beyond Covewood, I don't see where the runoffs are gonna get to the
There's a couple
lake.
culverts though that do cross up farther.
Yes.
Covewood,
But it don't get to the
maybe
lake.
before Covewood. you know.
Right, it filters out before it gets to the lake. We have to protect these lakes, I'm all for it.
We
And all
also-
for giving the money to the associations, but,
We also have to use common sense though, Robin. I mean, look at, I'll bring a good example that you're aware of, because we both live near there. All of the controversy over the subdivision going in. Now, he's quite a lot of his land is quite a distance away from the lake.
Yeah.
But because of the way that the land is, there's a potential for a significant effect on that lake. So, you know, using it like,
it's
because
no different than it was years ago.
I'm sorry?
There's no, that subdivision is no different than it was years ago. It's all grass, it's all,
It's lost all the trees, it's lost the canopy. So, yeah, it is very different.
I think the real issue, Robin, what she's trying to say is where the water starts from. Okay, obviously, and I'm gonna move away from that subdivision, I'm gonna go to, Lakeside Drive. Buzzell Road.
Yeah.
Okay? The water that goes down to that lake starts way up past
Yeah.
what the shoreline district is.
Yeah.
Okay? So
But we
you
can't,
can't just say it's gonna be so many feet from the lake, because that problem up there starts 1,500 feet, or maybe even 2,000 feet from the lake. But all that water, you know, I worked up there, and I tried to change the water courses and all that, starts way up there.
well, yeah, everything starts from top of the hill, runs down, absolutely, but you gotta filter, it'll filter out before it gets anywhere near the lake.
That's not true.
The Mousom Lake
That's what
survey,
I
the Mousom
understand.
Lake survey had the culvert on Sanborn Road in the dip right before you go up to Winchell's house, right where it's low. That was one they also had listed, and that was Yellow Mark because it's a town. They also had listed the culvert down here on Sam Page Road as contributing to it. And I thought that was odd, but that's right on their list of projects they want done.
We can't control everything where the water goes.
No.
Can't, no way, heck, can you control the water to go where you want it to go.
That's right.
I just say, I think these roads that, again, Buzzell Road, Lakeside Drive, Langley Shore, that road, yes, we need to concentrate on and keep that from getting in the lakes, but 13th Street, the Ridge, I personally don't think, it filters out before it gets there. If we're gonna do that, we need to put a barrier around all these rakes and stop the water before it gets there from all over the place, the woods, whatever. That's my feelings.
But the law is pretty clear on what they'll allow.
Yeah, and that's what the selectmen are trying to work on, to make sure we are doing what the state wants us to do legally before we get into trouble.
And the problem with that is, when this stuff was all developed, before it went to town meeting, it had a lawyer look at it, okay, the people that proposed it.
Yeah.
And they presented it to the selectmen. The selectmen gave it to their attorney. This is before it went to town meeting. And said it meets all those criteria, it meets the state law. My whole problem with this whole thing is changing the process in midstream. If you're gonna change the process in midstream, that's not fair to anybody. What you do is you change the process starting the next fiscal year. Okay? And I'm gonna go back to the planning board for an example. On a subdivision, you got 4 or 5 steps you gotta go through to get this subdivision approved. And you get to go through half those steps, and all of a sudden the planning board changes the whole process. That's not right. It's not, it wouldn't hold up in court because it'd be illegal. And I think what the town is doing, you have to trust your citizens to begin with. And you have to trust that if somebody that's got a road association, they got the bills where they paid to have the work done. And if the selectmen haven't changed this in a year and a half, they doubt that they can get this forward so it's all ready for January, like they said, in 1 month. I doubt it's ever gonna happen. And it's not fair to the people that voted for this at town meeting and all this stuff to have it taken out from underneath them. It's not fair. It's not right.
Chairperson, do we know what other roads are on the list, that's trying to get from this point?
To my knowledge, I only know of two applications that were sent back. I don't know if there's more or not, because they have not been forwarded to me.
Well, I know Wilkerson and the Ridge.
I thought we were talking about the applications they returned.
They get returned.
Yeah, these are the ones that wasn't
No,
feasible?
these are the ones that the selectmen addressed and bypassed the road.
Okay, so we don't know what other roads have already put their reimbursements in.
I can tell you what two of them have done, because Langley Shores and Lakeside have both put in applications.
Right, so they put a stop on them?
Yes.
Yeah, those are the ones that stopped last
They actually
week.
I
mailed
didn't know
back the
that.
applications.
I guess I missed that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had submitted them, and,
Yeah, my feelings, Langley Shore and Lakeside definitely needs the help. Absolutely. That's close to the lake, that's, yes, the road is within 50, 75 feet of the lake. Totally agree, that whole roads need our help. But some of these roads that's not near the lake, or you got hills and everything in between them, I personally don't think we should, if part of the road is is next to the lake, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess
In practice, I don't think that there's any the applications that have been approved and paid that fit that description, so I don't think
we haven't encountered that.
right.
I mean, I guess what we could do, is saying we have those ones for the time being, saying, they can put it, if there's however many that they said no to, we'll look at them, and if if it is like Langley, like something that's immediately on the lake, we could pay it, then after that, that's it. Put it something out, that's it. That's the last ones we're taking, we're gonna redo it, and so
Put out notice.
Yeah, exactly. Put
Anything
out a
that's
note,
on the
yeah.
lake, I'm all for it.
I mean, we could bring that to the selectmen tomorrow night and see if that's something they'd let us look at them.
Run that by, say that again, so
So that you change the date and anything, and pick a date, no new applications can be even started.
Right.
Until,
Say we're,
update.
just like, we look at the ones that they said no to last week, and, we could pay those ones, so, the associations don't feel left out or something like that, then after that, that's it. Like at December 1st, you cannot bring in a,
December 1st, give the townspeople 30 days notice.
Right, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If it's not in by now, they're not gonna put it in, we can't check it anyways if they do put it in now.
but they sent some back, that's the problem.
well, that's what I mean, we look at the ones that said
they just
that.
send it back.
Right.
Right.
So,
Pending a change in
Yeah,
process.
pending a change, yeah, right, but we just don't know, we don't know what the process is, and, these road associations did the work thinking that the process was one way, and
Right.
if it
If-
changes and disqualifies it, that's,
Right.
with no notice, that's not a fair process.
right.
Yeah, I
And
agree with
that's why we're
that.
saying, that's why Will was saying, them two that they put stop payment on last week, we need to bring them back to us.
So what date do you think should be the cutoff date then?
When they fund the new application,
Yeah,
when they come out with a new application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I think I go with Dennis, that give them 30 days from this meeting. We give them 30 days, and after that, like December 1st, end of December 1st of the year, if we should have no more applications.
All right, so you're saying,
so, but the only problem that I have with that is they've had a year and a half, and they could have changed the application at any point there.
Yeah,
So, so they should be able to do the new application in 30 days.
they want to make sure, they want to send it up to this, when we get this new application done, send it to the state, because they're the ones that made the rules for all these private roads, that you can't spend money on it. Let them take a look at it, whoever made it up there, then send it back to us, say, yeah, this looks good to us, because I don't think it ever went to the state. I don't think this application that we have never went to the
it
state.
never went to the state because the
didn't
the
need to.
statute, the statute
Well,
changed.
I think the town is looking to
Well,
get
no, but-
somebody to okay it up there to say.
The legislature changed the law. And you'd have, if, you'd have to send that to the legislatures, and they're not going to do it. Part of the law said that they gave DEP permission to make rules. I contacted DEP. DEP doesn't agree on how to do it. one gentleman said, go back to 3101, which is the definition of repair and maintenance. And that's what he's saying. And he also said the DEP has no intention of making rules for this.
Well,
That they were
somebody made the
vague.
rules to begin with, so somebody needs to steer us in the right
If you
direction.
look in the newest law book, 129th legislature, that land use law book, it says right in there, the same 5 criteria that Leslie talked about tonight.
Well, we copied it
It
word
was
for
pretty
word.
much copied
That's how
from the
we.
statute.
That's what I'm saying. It's word for
Yeah,
word.
so we pulled it from the statute. How can we not be following the law if we copied the law?
And then it was sent to an attorney who went over it, and then the town's attorney. I don't know who else there is that even looks at this, that would be in, I don't know who from the state they would send it to, quite frankly. We've dealt with DEP and every other 3-lettered agency that deals with water rights. I just don't see who has it, who would have any new answers.
The statute designated DEP, and DEP says they're not going to do it. They're not going to issue rules for it.
No,
The only town that is actually, that I know of that has actually started this.
What I think that's where I get the selectmen's point of wanting to make sure we do this the right way, because I feel like once we do it, like Dave said, like, we're gonna be the leading, and, you know, we're gonna be the ones that, you know, kick this off or however they want.
Right.
I get their point there, because because the auditor did have the problem.
Well, you see, but, like I said, I'm asking the auditor the question is, what was her concern, and what directives did she give the Board of Selectmen? Because we've heard that there's problems, but we haven't had any
I think
specifics.
the auditor's problem, there was no check and balances, and nobody was actually checking the work out.
We were.
We were.
We were.
And we were
We
giving
were
that
on every one of
information
them.
to the selectmen, and from where it goes from there, we don't have any control over.
I don't know, I guess we'll
Well,
have to
we-
wait and ask the selectmen tomorrow night to see
We were
exact.
doing the work. We were doing all of the checking.
And making the recommendations just like we did today.
Well, I think
And
that's what,
2 of us are certified in erosion control.
I think that's what we should do. I think we should bring it forward to selectmen tomorrow night and say, hey, we should look at the rest of the applications that came in, pay them, because you don't feel like it's right just to shut them off.
Correct.
You have
Or not
fir-
pay them based on if they qualify or not.
Yeah,
We don't know if they
well, that's
qualify.
right. And then we say, then we have Jennifer, or whatever, put it on, I feel like we should send a letter to every, well, you can't, I guess you really can't do
Well, I mean,
that.
I have
But put
to
it-
give a report tomorrow anyway because of these
Oh, the 3.
here anyway, so I'm gonna be talking to the.
Well, I feel like that's what we should do. I mean, I think it's up to them at the end of what they want to do. If they don't want to do it, that's up to them, but
Yep.
all we can, it doesn't hurt to ask, you
Right,
know?
well, we're the advisory to them anyway, so we advise them to, the 2 applications that they have, let's give it to
Address
them, and
You have 30
start
days,
fresh
then
next week.
send a thing out, put it on
Yeah.
the page, that you got 30 days as an association to hand in the rest of the years, and then we're gonna revamp and try something for this, have it ready for the springtime, like they said they're gonna have it ready for.
Right, because no one's gonna be doing any work.
Right,
really.
right, I think that's what their point, I think that's what
So
their point was for giving them
you know,
back.
But it's not fair to, stop the process immediately.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why we said, you know, take the 2 applications that the selectmen put a hold on, let's give them, if they qualify, on this application, let's give them the money, be done with it, cut it off at December 1st, or whatever the case may be, December 31st, give us January, February, March to get a new, or even January and February, get a new application done. Then, on that application, there needs a time to submit, and the last time we're gonna receive any other during that fiscal year. So, at October, we're not taking any more. 'Cause we can't verify, because the leaves are coming down, we can't see, we have different X, Y, and Z.
Let's see, the problem with doing that, Robin, is our fiscal year runs from July.
I'm talking.
Through June.
Yeah, right,
So,
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
we need
because our
a,
fiscal year runs from that is how you apply for the money is, you know, the money initially wasn't available until July 1st of whatever year we voted it in. So, the year to apply, the time
right,
to
but
apply
I'm
is,
saying that we just need a time limit on these applications.
Right, but.
That's all.
That's gonna be up to the selectmen, not us.
yeah.
Well, we can make a recommendation.
I don't think it is.
I think we can make a recommendation that we put a time limit on it.
They talked about that when we first did this, and they talked about, this was a year ago, about having to cut off December 1st. And there was a discussion, that wasn't right, and the fiscal year ends June 30th, and as long as that work's done and the bill's submitted before June 30th, that's how it is.
Yeah, but I think, I think you have to put a deadline on it, because I think we're gonna be right back in the same spot again with the auditor or whoever. Why are you submitting money in the middle of the winter time when you guys can't even go look at it? I think we're just gonna make a.
I agree that it needs to be submitted in a timely basis.
Why?
So, I mean, if they're having the work done in June and they're not submitting it until December, that's a problem.
Well, that's their own fault. That's personally their own fault.
That I agree with. It needs to be submitted in a timely basis.
When you get your work done, you get your bill, you pay your contractor, pay your review, and you send it to us. It should be A, B, and C, apples to apples.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're gonna do this, that needs to be how it is, because it's not fair to other associations, and it's not, I mean, it's gotta be apples to apples if we're gonna do it the right way.
And these associations know what's coming down for the next year. You know what you're gonna do next year.
We do, but then we're not, I don't know what, I don't.
Right, you can't talk about anybody else, but that's what we need to, they need to know what they're doing. April 1st comes, soon as the snow goes, they get the contractor out there, this is what it's gonna cost us. Either they're gonna say, yes, we're gonna do the work, or no, we're not going to. And when that bill comes in, bang, it's done. It has to be done before, the work has to be done and looked at before fall. That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
I think,
saying.
because they've said that we have to go look at, and they've even said, it's like,
And we
with the
can't-
road committee needs to go look at the work, and they've even said it in there.
Yeah.
When they bypass these ones, they even said the road committee has to go look at the work. So you can't go looking at work in the middle of the winter time.
Or even in the fall, you can't see the work that they do in the fall.
This was tough to do, because.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
it was, but I think that's what we need to do to make sure, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a huge circle, that's all we're gonna do. And we're gonna be right back here again discussing the same thing if we submit the
think we
money.
need to put a time limit.
Or we say like that, you take pictures, but, I mean, I don't know, it's up to them at the end of the day, but I think we should sit down with the selectmen when we get ready to do the application.
We should have a workshop like we did when we were working on the road committee ordinance and the road commissioner ordinance, is everyone should sit down and discuss that.
I mean, if they, I mean, it's up to them, I mean, if they don't want to, they don't want to, I mean, that's fine. But I think we should, because we gotta go.
But because if this is in our purview, we should be,
Included.
have input into it.
Well, if,
Because we're responsible, because I think in the ordinance says the road committee will have to go out and look at it. I believe that's what it said.
I mean, it's.
So, and if we can't look at it when there's 2 feet of leaves on the job, we don't know what we're looking at.
That's right.
And I
So,
agree with
you know, these road association needs to get their ducks in line. By April 1st, this is what we're all gonna do. Get an estimate, middle of April, 1st of May. This is what it's gonna be. Get the work done, get it into us at a timely fashion so we can go look at it.
I think that's more than fair enough, I think that'd be fair.
And the ones that we're holding, just pay it and
Then
We'll go from there.
already be set, we put a deadline on it, hey, you got till, November 1st, if it's
Right.
not in, well, sorry, you're gonna have to,
wait till next year.
yeah. But then I feel like too, that, I don't know,
Spring, I think.
yes,
Right, well,
yes,
it's,
right.
yeah.
Or when the
Right, not yet.
new application is developed.
Well, hopefully, we're gonna have the new applications before next spring.
We have to.
Right, right.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
to, correct.
I feel like we were, the selectmen said they're gonna work on it, so I mean,
Right.
it's,
But when are they gonna work on it? I mean, that all has to be at public hearing, public meetings,
Yeah,
because that discussion needs to be done in a public forum, because anytime there's a quorum of a meeting, it's a
So-
public meeting.
so we need to set up a workshop, like you said, with the selectmen, that's all.
So, and then sit down and hammer it out.
Yeah,
and if they can find somebody to look at the state,
Right.
go ahead, send it to them.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know who they're gonna send it to, because no
No,
one
they-
has indicated that they want to. The legislatures who actually drafted the statute aren't going to. And DEP, who isn't going, has said that they have no intention of doing
Well,
it.
let's hope they
We'll
figure
leave
it
that
out.
into their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely think tomorrow night that we should bring it forward to them, you know, that we should look at your road, whoever else does it, and be
Right, I
like,
don't know
and be like, then send a letter, hey, you got 30 days to bring the rest of them, and that's it, it's over with. You know, then we gotta start on the application. It's not gonna be fair to them if we don't do the application in time in the spring, it's not gonna be
You
fair to
know,
them.
you can't shut, whoever the two roads are, you can't shut them off in midstream. Absolutely, I agree with Dennis.
Yeah.
So let's just, 2 applications, I don't know which 2 it is, let's get them paid off. Then there's no more applications after them 2. We ain't accepting no more applications until we get this new form of a grant type application done.
I don't know if I like Robin and I agree, and I like it better when we're disagreeing.
But and that's my feeling, and I strongly want to protect the lakes, absolutely. That's 95% of our income in this town are the lakes, and I don't
Also, it
mind.
also affects our tax base.
Huh?
If the lakes deteriorate,
Right.
tax base goes down.
Absolutely, I totally, that's why I'm saying, if it's directly, this work is being done is directly helping the lake, and I'm not saying, you know, if it's within, that's why I said the footage, you know, I don't think the ridge or part of 13th Street qualifies, because all that, if you're gonna do that, you gotta stop every water from every hill everywhere. Because one way or another, it's getting to the lakes. But our main concern is the road, the salt, the stuff that's coming off the road, the oils and all that stuff is getting into the lake. That's why I think strongly is directly in a lake thing.
I get just one more thing, I'm gonna say that and be quiet.
No, I like listening to you talk.
Go ahead, Dennis.
When this was developed, there was, 20, 30 people sat down, got all this stuff straightened out in order to present to the selectmen. And everybody knew if town meeting would pass this, that there would be, some changes in the application process. And I guess the real problem that I have is, like we already discussed, was changing it in midstream.
Right.
And I honestly believe it should be changed for next year. Not for this year at all. Nobody's gonna sue us, nobody's going to. And the perception that's been put out there, that we're not even sure this is legal. Well, it is legal. Okay? We can clean it up and make it tighter and stricter. And yes, we are the first ones. Well, we've always been number one.
Yeah,
so
Acton always been number
this is
one
not-
for everything.
And when you do that, but you need to be fair to everybody.
Right.
And as slow as things move, I mean, God,
Yeah,
to say that we're gonna have this done for next month, it's not happening.
Right, no.
Especially around the holidays.
right.
Too much work, and everyone's priorities is with their families where it should be.
Right. that's why I'm saying, we should have it done no later than, like I said, end of February, 1st of March.
Not even
Get it-
that.
Get it out there, get it printed, get it, send it to our lawyers, whoever's, and be done.
Our lawyer doesn't know any more about this than we do, Robin, because there is no case law with
Right,
this.
well, I just,
And they've approved it up to now.
Yeah, the lawyers said it's okay.
He did say about there should be some differences in the application.
Yeah, that's right.
Did he write down what?
When did he say
Probably
that?
not. I haven't heard
I haven't
that.
seen the letter. She
Yeah.
read it a few weeks ago.
I just think we should remember that the main thing we're here for, all of us as public servants, is to help the people of this town.
it helps the lakes.
And we are here to help the people also. And anything that we can do to help the people on these roads, we should do.
Our
Many
main
of them, I
concern
mean.
is to protect these lakes.
I didn't interrupt you, I'd appreciate the same courtesy. That is a purpose, but also the main purpose is to take care of the people of this town. And not everybody is a wealthy doctor on these roads. Every road you go into has the back lots, and they have the first houses, and these are the people that are hard pressed to come up with the dues for these associations. And very often, we have one road that has $1,000 a year fees on their roads. Other roads, ours is 4 1/4. I think that's pretty close to what they are, but that's a hard hit for a lot of young families. They aren't necessarily even on the lake, but they're on the private road. So I'm for doing the most we can to help any of them.
Sorry, Cindy.
Any other public comments?
Any other public comments?
That was none, but I already said it wasn't done, so.
Shut him
Well,
down.
no, go ahead, Dennis.
No, I didn't.
Shut him down.
You can be the last one, how's that?
Your tail, that's all.
I move we adjourn.
Second
I
that.
thought Dennis had one more comment.
say
Did you? Oh, you were
He
being-
lost his
you were being
opportunity.
fresh? Oh, okay.
You can wait till next time.
Motion to adjourn.
You should go vote.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How come?